For quite some time now, SUVs have been the flavor of the season, or seasons if I may say, and these two cars here have contributed significantly to that trend. The MG Hector and the Tata Harrier have a lot in common. They were both first launched in the same year, around 5 years ago, and in 2023, last year, both of them got massive updates in terms of features as well as technology. They also both run on the same 2-liter diesel engine sourced from Fiat. And those are the exact two cars we have today. The Hector diesel and of course the Harrier is only in diesel. So if you are in the market to buy a diesel 5-seater SUV approximately for 20 lakh rupees, which one of these two should you choose? That's what we're trying to help you answer today right here at Car and Bike. But before we go any further, in case you still haven't, please do subscribe to Car and Bike right now. Press the bell icon, and if you like this video, do go ahead and share with everyone you know.
While the Hector also gets a petrol version, the Harrier just has a diesel motor. The latter though gets both manual and auto options, while the Hector diesel just gets a manual. But before we head out for the drive, let's talk about design, dimensions and in-cabin features.
This is the top Fearless Plus trim of the Tata Harrier. Here you get 18-inch wheels, but if you go in for the dark edition in this trim, there you get exclusively 19-inch wheels, an option that is not available on the MG Hector. But first let's talk about the Harrier, and here what I like is the design of the car. The stance is really impressive and the wheels fit in quite nicely with the overall shape of the body. In fact, this looks like a combination of slightly bigger wheels on a smaller body, and in complete contrast, the Hector looks like the wheels are small while the body is bigger. Come to the front, and massive difference between these two SUVs, the large grille here with a lot of chrome, and you come here. What they've done is they've divided the grille into two parts very smartly with this color bar in between, and definitely looks more modern, more futuristic. And of course these connecting DRLs also contribute to that, some things that missing on the Hector. Choice is yours. You like more chrome, Hector will work for you. Like less chrome, the Harrier definitely will work for you. But what I like on the Hector are its square wheel arches, something you don't get on the Harrier. I think it just adds to the SUV stance a bit more. Looks quite nice, and this car is longer than Harrier as well, so that also is something that many of you will like.
When it comes to dimensions, the Hector is bigger in every aspect barring width, and that shows. From the rear, the Harrier looks more muscular, while both SUVs get connecting tail lamps, which adds to the premium appeal. Importantly, the Hector gets a 17-inch spare wheel. On the Harrier, that size is 16 inches. There are many color options on both, but this sunlit yellow on the Harrier really stands out.
Come inside the cabin and you can see a clear difference between these two cars. The Harrier definitely provides a more sporty experience with its all black seats, and especially in this sunlit yellow color, these interiors look really nice and make the car look exclusive as well, not only from outside, from inside as well. Now there are some features you get only in the Harrier and not in the Hector. One of them is dual zone climate control, which is a nice thing. I think both the passengers deserve their own temperature controls, especially when they spend so much money. But what I don't like now after spending some time with the car are these touch panels. They sort of take your attention away from the road and also are a bit laggy sometimes. And while you get electric and ventilated front seats on both these cars, it is only on the Harrier that these seats also come with memory functions, as well as the memory function when you first open the car after unlocking it. If you're looking for a C-type charger, very important in today's times, you only get in the Harrier, and it's a 45-watt charger. So your devices will be charged at quite good speeds. You also get a bigger 10-inch instrument cluster here in the Harrier. Looks nice, gives you a lot of information and justifies the overall size of the cabin as well. On the Hector, the 7-inch unit sort of looks small looking at the overall space and size inside the cabin. But in the Hector, the 14-inch screen really stands out. First, it is vertical, it is good to use as well, and comes with a lot of tech. Not that the Harrier doesn't get tech, but here this is a more conventional design. It's quite big, this 12.3-inch screen, but if you have to choose the design, the layout between these two, I'll probably choose the Hector.
While both get panoramic sunroof, you also can control the roof on the Hector through the vertical touchscreen and decide by what percentage it needs to be opened, which is a nice touch. such. There's no dearth of connectivity features on both SUVs, but the 10-speaker JBL sound system on the Harrier feels one up on the 8-speaker Infinity unit on the Hector. The Hector takes more than 100 voice commands, importantly in Hindi too. On the Harrier, that number goes up to 250. The Hector though gets a digital key that can be shared as well, which negates the use of a physical key. Wireless charger, electric parking brake and air purifier is available on both SUVs.
The second row comfort is probably a shade better when compared to the Harrier here on the Hector. The longer wheelbase clearly shows you get a lot of space here on the second row. Look at this knee room I am getting, and that's the case with the headroom and the shoulder room as well. The under thigh support though is evenly matched on both the cars. Both are as good as each other, but the angle for me slightly works better here on the Hector. Here you also get 3 adjustable headrests for all the passengers. On the Harrier you get 2, but those 2 are so much better looking at the size and the comfort they give you. The top trims you also get those winged head restraints.
Only on the Harrier do you get window sunshades and a C-type charging port on the second row. Both SUVs also get 3-row versions, so there's enough practicality on offer whichever one you choose.
Now both these SUVs get only 2 rows, which means there's decent amount of boot space on offer. But which one gets more? Let's take a look. But before that, both these get electric tailgates, but it's only the Harrier where you also get a hands-free function. Slide in your feet and the tailgate will open, while on the Hector you have to do it with the press of a button and the boot hatch opens. In terms of size, it is the Hector that gives you more space. 445 liters on the Harrier, 587 liters on the Hector. This one definitely more generous when it comes to luggage space. Same engine on both the cars, so what you get are identical figures, and it hasn't disappointed in the way it responds because the numbers are good on this 2-liter diesel engine. Starting with the Harrier, what you get is a pickup that is quite quick and the car pulls along nicely. What I really like in this stocky setup is the fact that you can drive in lower gears at high speeds or vice versa, drive in high gears in low speeds when you're in city traffic, so there's not the real need to change your gears very frequently, which is a good thing with this setup.
What also helps is that along with 3 drive modes, the Harrier also has 3 terrain response modes that helps the SUV in dealing with slightly more challenging road conditions. Advanced ESP with driver doors off alert and hill descent control are also handy features on the SUV. The Hector 2 gets 3 drive modes, ESP and hill assist, so it is fairly well loaded when compared to the Harrier. But once you take to the driver's seat, you realize that this is where you get a clearer view of the road, where the pillars are less obstructive. As we said earlier, the Hector doesn't get an automatic, and that is a big miss in today's times where consumers want as much convenience as possible. However, the petrol version of the SUV does come with both manual and automatic options.
And if you're expecting a lighter clutch on any of these cars, that is something you will not get, and it will take some time in getting used to operating these clutches. What also works slightly better on the Hector are its NVH levels when compared to the Harrier. So yes, both of them run on the same engine, but insulation levels feel slightly better here on the Hector. The suspension also seems quite good, well tuned to take on the good and the bad roads, and you like that because it's going to provide good comfort to you as well as your family sitting on the back row.
While ride quality on the Hector is impressive, the SUV could do with better handling character, especially on the back row. There's good stability on straight roads and at high speeds, but superior cornering ability is desirable here. So how does the Harrier compare to the Hector when it comes to ride and handling?
What I really like on the Harrier specifically also is its steering wheel. It comes across as very precise and provides good feedback as well, and is also decently sized, not too big, not too small. So it just syncs with the entire feel of the cabin. Gear shifts are nice and quick, and they're also a bit notchy, which you like as a driver. It's a car that's always handled well. That's something that's continued with this facelift of the SUV. The Land Rover DNA comes into play here, and you like how the car moves. It's really stable at high speeds, taking on the highways, it's good fun, and also on the corners at good speeds, you're really impressed with the dynamics of the Tata Harrier. But what also comes with that is ride quality that's a bit on the stiffer side. So when you encounter some bad roads or bumps or potholes, you might feel some of those inside the cabin. The Harrier also gets a whole lot of safety features. Of course, it's a car that's got 5 stars in crash test ratings, both in Global NCAP as well as Bharat NCAP. And you also get 7 airbags on this top fearless trim of the SUV, which is quite impressive. And then you also have a whole lot of level 2 ADAS features on the SUV, makes it a complete all-rounder when it comes to safety. Now all these features are missing on the MG Hector, talking about the diesel version of the car, because the diesel doesn't come in the top savvy trim, and that is where you get ADAS features.
The Hector has still not been crash tested by Global NCAP, while the SUV gets 6 airbags on the top variants.
In terms of drivability, there's not too much that separates both these cars, looking at the fact that they both run on the same engine. But in terms of features, they both get the exclusive sets. It is the Harrier though that gives you more number of features, ticks more boxes. It is also available in a wider price range. The base variant is much cheaper than the Hector base variant. The top variant is slightly more expensive than the Hector top variant, so gives more range to the consumer to choose from, and generally comes across as a well packaged product, one that will satisfy you as a buyer.